Shalom, children. Today our story about Yaakov and Yosef's lives is coming to an end. Wasn't it exciting that Yaakov finally got to see his son Yosef, and that all the brothers were able to be all together again and be forgiven by Yosef? Yosef's whole family had settled into their new home, and some time had passed. Yaakov was very, very old. He was also not able to see very well anymore. One day he got very sick, and Joseph was told all about it. So Joseph took his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, to go and see their grandfather. When Joseph and the boys arrived, Yaakov told them about how Yahweh had made promises to him, like he had made to his father Isaac and grandfather Abraham. He told them how Yahweh had promised the land of Canaan to him and his descendants, that all his children, his children's children, and so on. He also said that he would have so many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren that they would be a huge group of people. Then, as it was the custom of that time before the father died, he laid hands on his sons and gave them some words about what could be for their future. First, before any of the other brothers got there, Yaakov blessed his two grandsons. Since he could not see, Joseph brought the oldest son Manasseh to Yaakov's right hand, and his younger son Ephraim to Yaakov's left hand. Yaakov crossed his hands so that his right hand was on Ephraim, and his left hand was on Manasseh. Joseph was not happy about this. He tried to switch his father's hands, but Yaakov said no. He knew he was not doing it the way things were normally done. Yaakov said they would become great nations, but the youngest one would become greater than the oldest one. Then Yaakov called all 12 of his sons to come and hear what would become of them. He said something different to each one, starting with the eldest. To Reuben, he reminded him that he had been the beginning of his children, and he was his strength. He also said he was like boiling water. Do you think that makes him a hothead? To his next two sons, Levi and Shimon, he said they tended to like using their swords a little too much. They hurt others for no reason, and he did not like this about them. It does get better with Judah. He said he would be praised by his brothers, and that his offspring would be kings. Zebulun would be like a place that ships come to and would feel safe. Issachar would be like a donkey. He didn't mind doing hard work. Dan would be a good judge for his people. Gad would be able to conquer his enemies when they attacked. Asher would have bread. I think I like that one. Naphtali would be free like a deer that had been set free. Joseph would get so many blessings, they would be more than the blessings he and his father ever had. Benjamin was like a wolf that would catch what he was going to eat, but then he would share. After giving them their blessings, Yaakov told them to promise to bury him where his grandfather was buried. Then he lay back down on his bed and took one last breath. Now, when it came to burying the dead, the Mitzrites were very, very good at something called embalming. Have you ever heard that word before? Maybe you've heard the word mummy. Embalming is another word for mummy. Embalming was a way of using special oils and spices to keep a dead body looking good for a long, long time. They would wrap the body in a white linen fabric that looked like bandages. So the body of Yaakov was embalmed, because he was about to be taken on a long, hot journey back to Canaan, and they wanted to keep him smelling nice for the funeral service. And when they got to Canaan, Joseph placed him in the cave of Machpelah beside Abraham, Sarah, Yitzhak, Rivka, and also Jacob's wife Leah. Then came the time for Joseph to die at the ripe old age of 110. He made the children of Israel promise that one day, when Yahweh was ready to bring his people back to Canaan to possess it, that they would take his bones with them and bury him with his ancestors. So Joseph too was embalmed and sealed in a coffin to wait for the day that they could take his body back there. Do you think they kept their promise to take Joseph back there? Do you think that Yahweh fulfilled the covenant he made to Abraham, Yitzhak, and Jacob to give the children of Israel the land of Canaan? We'll have to keep reading the Torah to find out. Well, children, our study through the book of Bereshit is now finished. Next week, we will hear stories from the second book of the Torah, Shemot, and continue learning about the children of Israel and see what new adventures they encounter. So until then, Shalom.